Thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Lami Ali. We begin with politics. The President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongba-Memsem, has set up the Ekiti State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal. The tribunal is to hear and determine petitions that may arise from the governorship election slated for Saturday, June 18, 2022. A statement by the Secretary of the Tribunal, Umar Abubakar, stated that Justice Dongba-Memsem says the action is pursuant to Section 285, Subsection 2 and Subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution as amended and Section 130 of the Election Act 2022. The tribunal is to make use of the Ekiti State High Court complex. Now, prospective voters have continued to throng various registration centers in Owerri, Imo State, the Imo State capital, to beat the deadline stipulated by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Faith Iguilo, who visited some of the centers, reports that the people are not relenting in their effort to get registered.
Hundreds of eligible intending voters thronging designated centers to get their permanent voters card. Most designated centers lack the capacity to contain the turnout of youths who do not mind spending the whole day in the quest to get hold of the PVC.
Process is good, just that I don't know, it's tiring, like they don't have enough computers.
Let them make it easy for the masses.
I was here 6 states, but up till now I have not registered.
It's not quite an hour that the INEC officials came here. While we were here since early in the morning.
Head of Department of Voter Education, INEC, Emanuela Ben Opara, described the scenario as the usual last-minute rush.
Some of them who come to us are not actually fresh registrants. There are those who needed to have their information corrected, updated, or because they lost their cards. We have tried to tell them to do those things online, but unfortunately, they don't have faith in doing them online.
For some eligible voters, the heightened awareness to make their choice in the leadership of the country has further strengthened their resolve to face the difficulties associated with the surge in the registration process. In Owerri, Faith Iguilo, NTA News.
And activities are ongoing in Ekiti State in preparation for the June 18th governorship election. Our correspondent Kunle Adeyeye is there and he's going to give us an update. Hello Kunle, can you hear me?
Hey, good evening, Lami. I can hear you clearly.
Now, tell us the situation of things there.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Lami. Presently, we are the Ekiti local government of the Independent National Electoral Commission office. It's no longer a novelty that sensitive materials have been distributed since yesterday. But here, they have to be moved to different polling units in the Ekiti metropolis for election usage. And now they are taking the materials to what they call rack center at some strategic points within Ekiti, the state capital. So some are going. Then another major thing happening here is that the prospective ad hoc staff they are using here, they are checking their names to know the exact polling points where they are going to carry out their duty. So some have checked their name, of course they are confirmed they are going to work there, but some are still prospective and they are still very eager to know where they will be working. Well, I have one of them with me. He's a core member, Timileyin. Timileyin, good evening, and you are welcome to NTA News.
Yep, yes, welcome.
Okay, now I guess you have seen your name on the list and you know where your primary assignment is. Can you probably tell us where you are conducting, where you will be working tomorrow?
Yeah, I've seen my name and I'm going to Ward 13 as a PO.
Okay, let me now put the question to you this way. How are you ready to serve your fatherland through this national assignment?
I'm ready not to compromise, and I'm ready for carrying my duty as a PO.
Well, in the course of probably applying for this job, you must have been trained. What are the basic trainings you were put through?
The basic training is how we carry out the election here in my unit, and as a PO, they said the way I will carry my listing there.
Okay, thank you very much. Besides that, any other thing do you have to share with us?
Not too much I can share than this.
Okay, thank you very much, Timileyin. So, Lami, well, one of the ad hoc staff employed by the Independent National Electoral Commission, Timileyin Oyedeji, I just spoke with him. So, that's what's happening now.
All right, now from your observation, what is the mood of voters as they prepare to cast their ballots come Saturday?
Okay, well, thank you very much, Lami. Since morning, when Charles Alpha went to Ijigbo roundabout, and at 10 a.m. too, I was at the headquarters of INEC office in the morning. One noticeable thing we have seen in the metropolis is the active movement of the people. You know, Ekiti State is purely a civil service state, and today being Friday, tomorrow is election day. Many people are eager to go to their towns, their villages, even the hamlets, to go and cast their ballots. So there'll be movement within and outside the town. But one thing we have noticed is the movement outside the town is more active than that of those moving into the town. Then, besides that too, of course, the security operatives, the security agencies, they've been moving around the metropolis. I wouldn't call it a show of force, but a show of competence to let people know that, okay, we are here for you, we are here to protect you, and don't panic by tomorrow, don't be violent, just go to your different polling units, exercise your civic rights, and you are rest assured of total safety. We've noticed that too.
Thank you very much, Kunle. We shall get back to you later for more updates on the situation at Ekiti.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Lami. We will be very eager to give you adequate response by then.
Thank you. Now, moving on, Nigerian youths have been told to see themselves as the greatest resources for revitalizing democracy, human rights and governance, not only in the future, but more importantly today around the world. This call to Nigerian youths came up at a democracy lecture with the theme Election and Governance, Youths as Watchmen Against Electoral Violence. Haman Jabani has the reports.
Youth Congress is offering young leaders a platform to discuss opportunities and strategies for the mobilization so that they can create a shared vision to help advance youth participation in civic and political processes peacefully.
There is an understanding of the potential advantages of harnessing the youth bulge, a factor that both the UAE and Nigeria share.
Nothing stops young Nigerians to be offering 30% affirmative actions. If we say we have 70% of the entire population, it really shows that if we are coordinated very well and we sensitize ourselves, we can even put the next president in power.
What we want is to make sure we have a stable nation. Nigeria is our priority. Nigeria is our project. No matter what they do to frustrate the youth of this country, to make sure we get involved or answerable to their big pockets at this point is not going to work.
As much as you focus on election and good governance,
stakeholders suggest support for youth-led innovation, helping young leaders connect, identify barriers to political participation, co-develop tools, and test results to build democracies that are more inclusive.
Congress is asking us.
Haman Jabani, NTA News.
Nigeria and United States of America should collaborate more to effectively tackle the spread of terrorism, especially in the Sahel region. Vice President Chimio Shibajo stated this when he received the visiting Under-Secretary for Political Affairs, U.S. State Department Victoria Norland, highlighting the need for a more comprehensive approach to tackling terrorism in the region and Sahel. The Vice President noted that the spread of terrorist organizations such as ISWAP and Boko Haram should be tackled firmly and permanently. The Vice President described the cooperation between the two countries as extremely fruitful and rewarding and commends the U.S. government for providing support to Nigeria in its fight against Boko Haram and terrorism. The Vice President also noted President Muhammadu Buhari's administration's commitments to tackling the country's security challenges and ensuring free, fair and peaceful elections. Lalo Akonde, Senior Special Assistant to the Vice President on Media and Publicity, in a press release stated that the significance of free, fair and peaceful elections, improving security in the Sahel region and the adoption of gas as a transition fuel in developing countries, among other issues of mutual interest, were discussed at the meeting. The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons has staged a road walk within the city centre of the FCT to create more awareness on the plight of displaced persons. Kenneth Nanim reports that the roadshow is part of activities lined up for the 2022 World Refugee Week.
World Refugee Day is celebrated every 20th of June to raise awareness on the unique health needs of refugees and other people on the move. This road walk is a demonstration of solidarity, passion, and the collective efforts needed to improve the livelihood of refugees in Nigeria. But at the Unity Fountain, it was a freestyle. Ernest Cho is a refugee from Cameroon. He appreciates the Nigerian government for its support towards his kind and solicits that refugees be mainstreamed in the federal government's social safety net.
We live within the community, even as much as we live on our own. We still beg the Commission to see into it that we have something as far as accommodation and other amenities are concerned. But the community where we live, honestly speaking, we feel at home.
We've started enrollment on the NHIS program. It's a piloting phase, and we're about to start the second phase. We're looking forward to more cooperation, especially from the security agencies, knowing that we have obligations towards these refugees.
As efforts are on top gear to provide the needed infrastructure for refugees, attention is on inter-organizational synergy and support needed to deliver on the mandate. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
In commemorating World Desertification and Drought Day 2022, governments around the world are encouraged to develop land planning processes and provide funds for climate-smart agriculture to limit degradation and build resilience against droughts. Onengie Fineface reports.
United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, UNCCD's report indicates that droughts are up to 29% since the year 2000, with 55 million people affected every year.
3/4 of humanity will be living in drought-prone areas by 2050. Drought is not just the absence of rain. It is also, and often more, a result of human actions, or rather inaction, to take care of our land and our climate.
Together, we can restore the productivity of over 2 billion hectares of degraded land and improve the livelihoods of more than 1.3 billion people around the world.
In commemorating Desertification and Drought Day 2022, the United Nations is drawing attention to solutions including early warning systems, drought preparedness, protecting livelihoods and restoring degraded land.
In Africa, the Great Green Wall of the Sahel has already restored millions of hectares of land and created thousands of jobs from Dakar to Djibouti. Taking care of our land and its biodiversity can help address the climate crisis and assist in reaching all our sustainable development goals.
Desertification and Drought Day is celebrated to raise public awareness, promote solutions and strengthen implementation of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, especially in Africa. Onengie Fine Face, NT News.
As Nigeria joins the global community to mark the 2022 World Museum Day, the importance of establishing a national museum in Abuja has again been highlighted. Oyinaya Kaluoka reports.
The International Museum Day was also a day to celebrate the International Day for Monuments and Sites. With about 55 museums and sites in Nigeria, the day provided the opportunity for local communities and individuals to consider the importance of cultural heritage to their lives, identities, communities, and to promote awareness on its diversity. With the theme, The Power of Museums, Heritage and Climate, the threat of destruction of Nigeria's cultural heritage due to neglect and changing social and economic conditions was highlighted.
It is important for all of us that we must have to remember this day and then preserve our tradition, norms and value.
The two countries, which begins to create cohesion between the people of South Africa and Nigeria, and also to create people-to-people movement between the two countries. This is an agreement on arts and culture.
The Director General, National Commission for Museums and Monuments, Professor Abba Issa Tijani, said, with the new phase of museums in the country, as seen in the transformation of galleries, the Commission is prepared to use the museum as a powerful tool in achieving change. He spoke on the importance of establishing a national museum in the federal capital, Abuja.
Everywhere in the world, you see that anywhere you go, you see museums in the city, in the headquarters. Nigeria, we don't have a national museum in Abuja, and we are looking forward to having one very soon.
The International Museum Day by the United Nations has been celebrated since 1977 to raise awareness on the importance of museum. Oyinaya Kaluoka, NTA News.
Now, women's involvement in finding lasting solutions to myriads of Nigeria's development challenges, particularly the problem of insecurity, has been advocated by the Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, Hajj. This was emphasized during the closing ceremony of the more than a month-long female students inter-school debate competition across Jigawa State, attended by the Hajj President Ladi Bala. Mohammed Askira reports.
That was a debate at the final stage. No doubt, female students' debate competition has, at the end of it, brought to the limelight some silent cultural issues affecting womanhood and their ability to add strength to the efforts of the government in addressing some challenges critical to the nation's development. Prominent among these issues is the girl-child education.
About 297 million has been spent only for the purpose of trying to pay back, reimburse parents whose children girls' childs are in unity schools across the country.
Education is the answer to the numerous problems that we're facing today in Nigeria, and particularly the issue of insecurity. And so this is why education is important for the girl child.
It is indeed a phenomenal secondary school female students debate competition put together by the Nigeria Association of Female Journalists in Hajj, first of its kind in Jigawa State, underscoring the importance of education and calling on the attention of the authority to invest heavily in girl child education. From Dutse, Muhammad Askira, NTA News.
Still on education, the prolonged industrial action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities has been identified as part of the challenges that must be addressed to avoid delays in the academic calendar in Nigeria. In commemoration of the International Day of the African Child, parents and children appealed to the warring parties to come to terms for the sake of the Nigerian child. Ngozi Technical reports.
Among the issues bordering on the future of children in Nigeria is fear of uncertainty on such matters as education and security.
The government should resolve the ASU strikes because you told my sisters one has written jam, so because of the ASU strike she has not yet entered.
Like I'm writing WAEC next year, and if this ones that have written is not being admitted to the university earlier, it's going to affect us.
On the 16th of June every year, afford stakeholders in the African continent opportunity to take stock and appraised these issues and other issues militating against African children.
30 million of world 57 million children who are out of school are in sub-Saharan Africa. More than 10 million of these children are Nigerians.
Being the umbrella body of women in Nigeria, the National Council for Women's Society says the continuous strike is exposing the youths to social vices. Ngozi Technical, NTA News.
And Lagos is where we go next on Nationwide with Adiola as our guide. Hello, Adiola.
Hello, Lami. Good to see you. Nigeria's 1999 constitution, as amended, already poses checks and balances that are available to effect whatever changes considered necessary for the purpose of amendments to the state of affairs with a view to having a functional Nigerian state. Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami reiterated this fact while responding to issues raised as regards restructuring at a meeting of Body of Attorney in Lagos. Abolade Salami reports.
The call for restructuring and amendments to the nation's grand norm has been at the front burner of several national discourse. In an attempt to lay the issue to rest, Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, in response to reactions, said the country's constitution is civil in operations as it accommodates room for amendments through legislations.
The problems we are facing are not purely problems of restructuring, problems of imbibing the spirit of public interest, the interest of justice, and need to promote the indivisibility of our nation, the Nigerian state.
The Minister of Justice advised Attorney Generals of States to ignore the idea of establishing a body known as the Body of Attorneys General of the Federation. These, he says, run contrary to Section 150, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Ondo State Governor Oloruntomi Akeredolu and his Lagos State counterpart Babajide Sanwo-Olu says significant alteration to the 1999 Constitution as amended is needed so as to accommodate more flexible laws that will promote national development.
As lawyers and as educated citizens, to insist that we have a new constitution is important for us.
You know too well that in the constitution, it's only Attorney General that the constitution says we should appoint. Once you have your Attorney General with you, you don't even need commissioners or special advisors again. So that goes to explain, how important and how critical your rules are for us.
Other issues deliberated by the State Attorneys General are the proposed amendments to the Stamp Duties Act, pensions and gratuity for judges, and amendments to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
And from the judiciary, we'll talk infrastructure. Arrangements have been concluded to pull down the remaining buildings at the site of a 21-story building that collapsed in November 2021 in Ikoyi under Etiosa local government area of the state. Musa Toliat reports that Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Bengal Motosho, disclosed this at a media forum in Lagos.
It's been 7 months since Lagos residents were jolted by the sudden collapse of a 21-story block of luxury flats under construction in Gerrard Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. The enormity of the incident prompted Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to set up an investigative panel to determine the immediate and remote causes of the collapsed building. Governor Sanwo-Olu then directed that an integrity test be carried out on other buildings in the compound where the incident happened. Arrangements have now been concluded by Lagos State government to pull down the defective structures. This, the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Bengal Motosho, disclosed, will be done using global best practices.
There is going to be a presentation that the conductor will be telling us why how they want to do the job, assuring us that us and well at the end of the day, we went into full detail because one of the things that comes up from the secret one thing that comes up from all these things safety and safety.
A new term known as deconstruction method will be employed.
We will keep the building piece by piece. That's not more than the size of a chip, so that we can carefully judge. Strategy is that by the grace of God, as we begin to take out the slabs, the building becomes light. And then gradually we will take it to the lower floors and we'll be able to clear the site entirely.
The operation to pull the defective buildings apart will commence in a week's time, and it is expected to last for 90 days. In Lagos, Musa Toliad, NTA News.
And from Lagos, we shall be handing over the baton to Comfort in Enugu. And that will be after the break. But do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/alllive and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. To stay. To the wall.
Good evening and welcome to Enugu Network Center. Enugu State Government has promised to restore every duly acquired land that has been illegally revoked and taken from the rightful owners. Governor Ugwuanyi gave this assurance when a delegation of health workers visited him with a complaint of alleged revocation of 230 plots of land acquired by the group at Ozala Abo community in the state. Susan Eze has the details.
According to the provisions of the Land Use Act, revocation of ownership to any land in the state must be with the approval of the state governor. Reacting to the alleged revocation of the land belonging to the state health workers registered as Villa Estate in Ozalabo by the immediate past Commissioner for Lands and Urban Development, Governor Ugwuanyi maintained he was not privy to the revocation, contrary to the provisions of the law. Citing a similar case involving the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, NOGE, whose land, illegally revoked, has since been returned to them, Governor Ugwuanyi directed the current Commissioner for Lands, Nnayelugo Chidi Aro, to take necessary actions to do same with the health workers.
The expression of Your Excellency that the Ministry of Land and Urban Development will comply strictly to your instructions on this and will do it in speed and in the best interest of the people of Enugu.
The jubilant health workers, led by the chairman of the Trade Union Congress, TUC, Bennett Asogwa, told the governor that they acquired the 230 plots of land in 2015 from the Ozalabo community. Governor Ugwuanyi enjoined others in the state who may have suffered similar fate of illegal revocation of their lands to come forward, as the administration is committed to ensuring that justice is served in this regards. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
A Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, NAWO, Enugu State Chapter, ahead of the 2023 general elections, has called for women inclusion as a condition to gain their support. Mina Adobe Ukobasi, who was at the conference, reports that speakers also requested implementation of the approved 35% Women Affirmation Action.
The decision to support gubernatorial candidates with female deputies was born out of the need to ensure gender-sensitive representation and change the narrative of women being relegated to the background.
There is, however, the need for a gender-sensitive representation in the entire political equation and balancing.
Chairperson, Federation of International Women Lawyers, FIDA, Enugu State Chapter, charged women to gear up and take their pride of place in the scheme of things by ensuring they support women massively in the upcoming polls.
There are very few women in our governance positions, but we need more inclusion.
Other speakers at the conference, including Onyeka Uwebulam and Vice Chairman, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Enugu State Council, called for the reinforcement of the 35% affirmative action and advised that power is not gotten on a platter, hence the need for women to garner force since they have the advantage of number.
And we just had a court judgment in our favor on the 35% affirmative action. And then, in Enugu State, they've done local government election. No single woman.
You should come out for election. You should also know that what you're supposed to do is to study the ground and know where you fit in.
In Enugu, Minna Adobe Kobasi, and News.
And as a contribution from this end is back to Abuja with Lami for more reports on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Comfort. The National Directorate of Employment's NDE is consolidating on its mandates to provide job opportunities for Nigerians. This is to forestall the relapse of beneficiaries into the labour market. Director General NDE Abubakar Fikpo stated this as the inspection of some NDE trainee workshops and skill acquisition centres in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Yemisi Ajagun monitored the exercise and brought back this report.
Olowe is one of the beneficiaries of the National Directorate of Employment Skill Acquisition Program in Oyo State, who has in turn trained over 100 people for skill acquisition.
I think it's clear now that everyone has seen so much benefit in vocational skills, in acquiring skills.
The program, which is one of the efforts of the federal government to mitigate unemployment in the society, is no doubt achieving its purpose.
I've trained more than 20, and presently I have about 12 trainees with me.
I was once a training under the NDE. By His grace, when I finished my tenure, they settled me a bit.
The Director General of the NDE, who represented, encouraged unemployed youth to key into the program.
I believe that improved funding will help us to do much more in the area of employment generation, wealth creation, and poverty reduction in the country.
Since the establishment of the scheme in November 1986, NDE has lifted hundreds of thousands out of poverty across the nation. In Ibadan, Yemisi Ajagun, NT News.
And the National Orientation Agency has taken its campaign on open government partnership and the application of the Freedom of Information Act to the grassroots with a view to ensuring community participation in programs and policies of governments. Kenneth Nanim reports.
In advanced democracies, the people have the fundamental right to demand how they are governed. But that is not the case here in Nigeria, because most of the citizens are yet to maximize the advantage.
Some are getting to know that they have the right to ask questions, to ask about their budget. So this is just to sensitize the people, to raise the bar of awareness on their rights as citizens of Nigeria.
The Open Government Partnership, which is an international multi-stakeholders initiative, focuses on improving transparency, accountability, citizen participation, and responsiveness to citizens.
This short drama is the technique which the agency is using to send the message. The citizens, especially at the community level, are also encouraged to leverage the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act of 2011 to demand relevant information concerning government projects in their areas for adequate monitoring.
The next line of action is to begin to find out information about what government is doing at the grassroots, especially in my local government area.
To achieve all of these, National Orientation Agency emphasized constant citizens' engagement with the government in line with Global Open Government Partnership Initiative, of which Nigeria subscribes to. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Now, the Supreme Court has approved the use of hijab by female Muslim students in government-owned schools in Lagos State. The 7-man panel of justices led by Justice Olukayode Ariwola dismissed the appeal by the Lagos State government and upheld the earlier judgments of the Court of Appeal, which held that the ban on hijab was discriminatory against Muslim students in the state. The court upheld that the ban violated the Muslim students' rights to freedom of thought, conscience, religion, the dignity of human persons, and freedom from discrimination guaranteed by the Constitution. The Lagos State government had banned the use of hijab, arguing that it was not part of the approved school uniform for pupils. Following the ban, the students filed a suit on May 27, 2015, seeking redress and asked the court to declare the ban as a violation of their rights to freedom of thought, religion, and education. Let's now head to Sokoto, where Sadia is standing by. All right, we are moving. Sadia, Sokoto appears not to be ready, so we're heading to Port Harcourt, where the Barbary will be our guide on Nationwide. It's over to you.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. There is an increasing surge among youths to register in the ongoing voter registration exercise in order to participate actively in deciding the next set of Nigerian leadership in the 2023 general elections. Kingsley Amaje reports.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, though has closed the online registration exercise for new prospective voters, the Commission is still registering this set of voters at their various centers. The process is becoming very cumbersome with the increasing population of younger Nigerians who desire to get their permanent voter cards (PVC).
Since my life, I've sworn not to get the PVC. I've sworn not to vote. But this time around, I'm so convinced in my spirit to vote. I believe like my vote counts, so we have to do something to push it to the next level. Whatever we are doing now, we decide how to. I came here with determination because to see that I am able to get my voter's card today. So I have just defied the difficulties here.
Actually, I came to get my voter's card, and actually this is my first time registering for the election.
INEC spokesperson in Rivers State, Mark Osolo, said many of those crowding the centers can easily update their biodata request for replacement of lost or damaged PVCs without visiting INEC offices.
The online portal cvr.inecnigeria.org is still ongoing, but for fresh registrants, it is not, the portal has closed for them to go ahead to register fresh registrations. But if it is for transfer, some change of names, change of date of birth, you can do that online.
Concerned residents want the authorities to extend the period in order not to disenfranchise prospective voters willing to participate in the process. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
The federal government is to complete the dualization of the Calabar Itu Federal Highway by 2023. Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, represented by the Director of Construction and Rehabilitation, said this during an inspection of the road project. Paul Abel was there in our reports.
The Calabar Itu Federal Highway links South-South and South-East states, as well as plays a major economic role in Nigeria, but has been characterized by its perennial bad condition, which the federal government intervened by awarding its reconstruction and dualization. The over 87 kilometers, 5 bridges with several culverts road, divided into 2 phases, the Cross River and Akwa Ibom axis, handled by 1 indigenous and 2 non-indigenous contractors, is expected to ease transportation when completed. Therefore, the team by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing is embarking on this inspection to ensure contractors meet quality specifications and complete the project within record time.
From what I can see now, there is no challenge of funding. The contract will continue to enjoy smooth funding. I'm satisfied, but I want them to do more.
The contractor has the will to work, because when you look at this project, they came and started working on site even before they were paid.
We are very grateful to the President for delivering us from this mess after 36 good years.
We are praying that the effort that has been started should be effectively
completed. The team by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing has promised to be back here soonest to ensure that the work is completed within stipulated time. From Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
We are done from Port Harcourt. The news will continue with Lami in Abuja right after the break. Good evening.
Thank you for staying with Nationwide. We now join Sadia in our Sokoto Network Center. It's over to you, Sadia.
Thank you, Lami. Thanks for joining us. Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal has inaugurated the 2002 Hajj delegation in the state with a charge on them to respect Saudi authorities' law. Lato Abdullahi has the report.
The 17-member Hajj delegation has Speaker Sokoto State House of Assembly Aminu Muhammad Achida as chairman, and the permanent secretary Farouk Shehu is to serve as the secretary. The delegation is saddled with the responsibility of leading and guiding the intending pilgrims to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for this year's Hajj operations.
I implore all our pilgrims to continue to pray for our country, to pray for our state, for the return of peace and continued progress and unity and cohesion of our state and our country.
In another development, Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal has administered oath of office on the 5-member Sokoto State Civil Service Commission. They include Haliru Muhammad Tambuwal as chairman, while the permanent commissioners include Abbas Gandhi, Shehu Bawa Gwaranyo, Ahmad Abdullahi Soho Shuni, and Abdurazak Shehu.
I appeal and rather charge the Civil Service Commission to ensure the enforcement of all relevant rules in relation to the promotion and elevation of civil servants.
Governor Tambuwal has also sworn in Tahiru Hossaini as permanent member of the Sokoto State House of Assembly Service Commission. In Sokoto, Lato Abdullahi, NTA News.
As part of efforts to ensure the successful conduct of this year's Hajj exercise, an intensive sensitization was organized for more than 1,300 pilgrims from Zamfara State. The event is a prelude to the airlift of the pilgrims to the Holy Land scheduled for over the weekend. Jamil Ibrahim has more.
The sensitization lectures organized by the Muslim Foundation in collaboration with Zamfara State Hajj Commission were meant to educate this year's intending pilgrims from the state on the rudiments of the Hajj exercise before they embark on the spiritual journey. It also covers the relevant Saudi policies as well as the rules and regulations that govern the entire operations to enable them perform a hitch-free and acceptable Hajj. Practical aspect of the major Hajj rites received utmost attention at the sensitization program. The chairman of Zamfara State Zakat and Endowment Board, Sheikh Abubakar Sudangi, and Ustad Jamilu Ahmad, who presented various papers at the event, stressed the need for the intending pilgrims to sincerely repent from sins and to hold firmly onto the teaching of the glorious Quran, an authentic prophetic tradition in the observance of the Hajj rites. Zamfara State Deputy Governor Senator Hassan Muhammad says the state government is committed to ensuring the welfare of the intending pilgrims, both at home and in the Holy Land. He charged them to make the best use of the knowledge they acquired at the training. Executive Chairman Zamfara State Hajj Commission Lawal Abdullahi particularly enjoined the intending pilgrims to ensure they fully receive the COVID-19, polio and yellow fever vaccinations before they leave for the Holy Land.
Preparations are on top there. You have seen even the buses that are supposed to convey them. They have started arriving right from today. Hopefully we'll have flights on Saturday and Sunday.
The sensitization holds simultaneously in all the 30 senatorial districts of Zamfara State, as the state is allocated 1,330 Hajj seats this year. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
That's it from this end. It's now back to Lami in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Sadia. Strengthening the capacity of religious leaders to build their potential in the fight against HIV was the focal point of a training in Abuja. Elizabeth Amori reports that the complexity of the concept of faith healing was also addressed.
AIDS. Global statistics on AIDS reveal that 37.7 million people globally were living with HIV in 2020. This epidemic has continued to be a major public health concern. The Sustainable Development Goal 3 aims to end AIDS before 2030. The global community is not relenting, and one of such efforts is this consultative meeting on treatment adherence by key actors in the fight against HIV/AIDS.
Faith leaders must rise to the challenges confronting the church today, especially with respect to reproductive health and HIV.
Very important to strengthen that role, to enhance that they help the country as much as possible to achieve epidemic control, ensure that many people are enrolled for treatment, and that we address the issues of stigma and discrimination. So PEPFAR and UNS come together to come up with this idea, which was brought into by our religious leaders globally.
Issues bordering on testing, high-risk behaviors, discrimination, and the concept of faith-based healing were also raised.
As much as we believe that God can do all things, it is also important that we adhere to treatment, which is the miracle that God has given us at a time like this.
With the ARVs, we have our healing. So we should not emphasize on exclusive claims of faith healing in the HIV response.
They recommend communal engagement, sensitization at all religious platforms on the epidemic, and behavioral change in lifestyle. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTN News.
The sports update is next.
The Confederation of African Football (CAF) has released the list of referees that will take charge of matches during the 14th 2022 African Women Cup of Nations coming up in Morocco in July. The list has Patience Madu and Millicent Yohe, both Nigerian, among 40 referees. These Nigerian referees will be amongst 16 center referees, 16 assistant referees, and 8 video referee assistants. Meanwhile, as the Super Falcons prepares for the 2022 African Women Cup of Nations in Rabat, Morocco, World Football Governing Body FIFA has released its ranking for women's national teams, where the Nigerian soccer ladies are now ranked 39th on the table and remain first in Africa. The Super Falcons will, however, look forward to the forthcoming Cup of Nations in Morocco to improve on their ranking in the next 3 months. Basketball enthusiasts have increased the call for more competitions to help inspire the next generation of basketballers to stardom. This call came at the Elite 8 Mark the Ball basketball tournament in Abuja, where Kano Pillars bounced back from their loss against Gombe Bulls on day 2 to defeat Kwara Falcons 77-61 points.
The competition, the way it's going, you can't predict who is going to win, because we've been seeing a lot of upsets, from this, especially this young team. They are very aggressive.
We need continuously to have this type of high-grade basketball competition so that those at home will be able to play well and get opportunity to go abroad, and we have a formidable team.
The tournament is set for more surprises in the next 2 days. With Sport Update, Larry Bilayi, NT News.
President Muhammadu Buhari conveys heartfelt sympathies to the royal palace of the Obi of Oba Kingdom in Delta State on the passing of her most treasured daughter, Princess Margaret Obagbena Ni-Osifo, at the age of 88. Commiserating with members of the family and Prince Nduka Obagbena, chairman of the Disney and the Rise group of companies, President Buhari describes the late Princess Margaret as a pillar of strength for the family, an accomplished mother and revered community leader whose absence will be felt far beyond her immediate environments. Noting that the demise of Princess will create a great vacuum in the community, the President urges the family to take solace in the understanding that she lived her life with passion by caring for the distressed and disadvantaged. President Buhari also condoles with the government and people of Edo and Delta states and the loss of the illustrious citizen who contributed immensely to the development of the two states. The President prays that God Almighty grants her soul eternal rest. And that does it on Nationwide. We thank you for watching. Remember to always join NTA in its campaign against rape and rapists. All is now set for the Ekiti State governorship elections, and our studios will be open for that.